Welcome to the Nutra Narratives podcast. I am so excited to have you here today. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited too.
Ah, Kara, how long ago did you graduate?
3 years ago, about 3 years ago.
Yeah, I can't believe it. And I haven't spoken to you since then, although we've had little chats on Instagram, which I'm
Sure, yeah.
grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
But just to talk, oh my goodness, we haven't done that in a while. So
I know.
this will be so good. Thank you. So, you know me, I always like to ask everybody, what in the world made you interested in nutrition? What sparked your interest?
So I actually was reading a book. It happened to be a diet book,
Okay, that's all
but
good.
it was about bodybuilding, which I am into now, but I had an interest in before, and it was called the Body Opus diet, which is a very
Okay,
extreme ketogenic diet that I would not recommend to anyone.
got
But
it.
in this book, he kind of describes the way food affects the body and how it can help with muscle growth and the way hormones interact with, you know, other hormones or how fat and carbohydrates and that kind of thing are processed. So I became really interested in how food affects the body because I don't think too many people think about that on a daily basis. Like
Right.
what we eat really matters because that's what our body runs on. So that kind of sparked my interest. And then from there, I just grew and grew.
Wow. How long ago was that?
That was, I want to say, 5 or 6 years ago. It's about three
Okay.
years before I applied because I had to, like, my major, my under bachelor degree was fashion merchandising.
Oh,
So I had to
yes.
go I had to go back to community college and take all the courses that I needed to get into the program at Loma Linda. So I think, yeah, it was about 3 or 4 years before I even was accepted that I became interested in nutrition.
I see. So you were working in a completely different world then for a while.
Yeah, so I was a stylist. I would do like mostly commercials, nothing like too ritzy, but basically buying the wardrobe for like a certain commercial or a certain photo shoot. Most of them were like companies like Nestle or the um, Edison video, like the electricity, that kind of thing. But I just became so bored with it because I felt like what I did didn't really matter.
Mm,
And so I wanted to get into something with people's health that would actually make a difference in people's lives.
incredible. So you didn't mind having to go back to a junior college to get those prerequisites. That
Not
to
at
you,
all.
wow, you're like, whatever it takes. Mm,
Yeah, when you I think like figuring out what you want to do is always kind of hard. We change so much in life.
right.
Certain events will change the direction that we're going in. But once you find that thing, I mean, you just know it.
Oh,
And that's how I feel about nutrition. I just knew that it was for me. So then I kept going and going and going.
wow. Kara, I did not know about your pre-life. Oh my goodness, really? You were
Yes.
working in that industry. Boy, that's a
Hmm.
completely different world
Oh,
than
yeah.
what you're doing now.
For sure. Yeah. I feel like a different person. I feel like I've grown so much too.
Mm, that's so incredible and so wonderful to hear. But I'm sure when you were doing that at the beginning, the fashion industry, I'm sure that had some element of excitement too at the beginning.
Yes, I mean I thought that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I thought I wanted to be a buyer, I wanted to be in the fashion world, but like I said, as we grow, we
Yeah.
change too. And what satisfies us and what makes us happy changes. So After a while, it
Yes.
just became like not bored with it, just like worrying over like a tiny wrinkle in someone's shirt was like too much for me. I wanted to do something that mattered. So
Yeah. Got it. Got it. Okay. Thank you. And so, okay, you went through the program at Loma
Mhm.
Linda. You were there for 3 years. What were your thoughts about going through it from like being in the fashion world and then now you're in school in this program? What were your thoughts?
I was really excited. I was really ready for it. So I took everything very seriously. I felt like the second time around in school, I tried a lot harder because I was more mature. I knew where I was at, what I wanted. Um,
Yeah.
I was like a overachiever, I would say. Always like had to study and be perfect and just, trying to do my best all the time. I love learning
Mm-hmm.
some things more than others, like some topics, right? But
Of course.
overall, the experience was like great. I
Ah,
just loved it.
I remember how how wonderful you were in class and how well you always did. So
Yeah, I
I saw,
tried.
oh, you did. I know you did. As a teacher, I saw that for sure. And you never wavered. You were very consistent. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. So then you graduated. And then how long after that did you take the RD exam
So I
boards?
waited 6 weeks.
That's it.
Yeah. So what I
Wow.
what I did was, okay, so I had a trip planned for Japan in the beginning of September.
Got
So
it.
what I said was I'm gonna take my test before, I go on my trip so I can be happy, right? It can be a celebration trip, or it can be
Right?
a trip to take my mind off of the fact that I didn't pass. Either way,
Oh,
it's a goal that I set. So 6 weeks, I studied. I mean, my main priority was studying.
yeah.
Mostly gene and men.
Hmm.
That's what I did.
Okay.
And I ended up passing. So it was August 13th. I'll always remember the date.
Ooh, nice. Yes. So it
Yeah,
made for a great celebration on the trip that you went on to
for
Japan.
sure. I didn't have to worry. I didn't start looking for a job until I got back from the trip. So I didn't have to worry about that either. It was
Yeah,
very relaxing.
a smart girl.
It
How long was your trip?
was 2 weeks.
Oh,
It was so fun.
was that your first time going to Japan?
Yes.
Oh,
We had a little
wow.
problem with the typhoon
Oh,
that was
dear.
at the time. Yeah, but it's such a great place. I loved going there.
What was the best memory of the entire trip?
Best memory. I loved going to Harajuku.
Mm.
Where they have like all the crepes and the I think the eating part, like a
Yeah.
huge cotton candy and a crepe. It's just, and you
Really?
walk around and people are just dressed so colorfully and everyone
Ooh.
is themselves. And I just love that type of environment. So just walking through there and seeing just the uniqueness of the place.
Mm.
I think sometimes we don't have, I mean, I don't see it here that often.
Right.
As much as I do over there, I feel like people really go for it over there.
Awesome.
Walking around in
Awesome.
costumes and stuff.
Oh my.
It was fun.
Yes. Just seeing color all around and whether it be in clothing. Oh, it's probably because you're a fashion designer too, that it was
Yeah.
also like, this is the neatest thing. Huh.
Yeah, I love people's style. Yeah, for sure.
That's great. I'm glad it was such a wonderful trip for you.
Thank you.
Yes. So then you came back 2 weeks after the trip. Well, okay, 2 weeks on the trip, you're back. And now
Mhm.
what were your thoughts about moving forward in life?
Okay, so starting out,
Mhm.
I knew what I wanted. what I wanted was to work in a big hospital.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so
Okay.
I started looking for a job, sent out tons of resumes, and did not get anything back. Which happens. I mean,
Oh
I
yeah.
just started looking for another job with my experience. It still takes a while. So I think everyone needs to realize that and be patient
It's true.
and be patient with yourself because all those things, like people have to go through all these resume. There's a lot going on in people's lives. So you
Mm,
always give them time to look through. But anyway, so I started looking, didn't get anything, didn't get a response. And then I was working as a diet tech at the time at like a small community hospital. And my director found out that I had passed the RD exam. I did not tell her.
oh.
And then she said, come work for me per diem. We don't have anything full time, but I want you per diem. And I'm like, okay, it's not really what I wanted. I wanted a large hospital. I wanted full time, but okay, like, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I started, and it was actually the best thing that happened to me because I realized that I had more time that I needed to grow in order to get to where I wanted to be.
Oh,
So I started working per diem
beautiful.
and I was like, oh, I think I need more experience.
Ah, okay.
Like just personally for me, I felt like I needed more hands-on experience. So I started working per diem, ended up getting full time because there was an opening.
Yes,
And then I
yes.
worked at, small community hospital in Gardena. And working in a small hospital, I thought what I wanted was a large hospital. And then working in a small hospital, I realized all the benefits of that. And
Ah,
because I was in a smaller place, I got to work in the ICU and work in tele and work in OB and do all these different things as opposed to a larger hospital that might have you doing one unit of or some. So I got a lot of experience there. I even did subacute.
wow.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that's what I did. And I just realized that like everything gets put in your path for a certain reason. Like sometimes we
Exactly.
think we know what we want, but it's not what we need.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was there for, I mean, just ended up putting my notice in. So I was there for 2.5 years as a dietitian and 4 years overall as a diet tech and dietitian.
Oh,
But that place gave me so much. It was a great learning experience. I don't think I could have gotten where I am now without that. So I'm very, very thankful for how things turned out.
yeah. You know what? I know that like we have a goal of where we want to be, and it does seem that God is like, yeah, I know, I'm going to keep that in mind. However, this is how you're going to get there.
Yeah,
And
for
then it's like,
sure.
oh my goodness, it's better than what I ever thought. Like
Yes.
you wanted the big hospital first, but it's so true. At a smaller hospital, the pace is not so stressful, but I'm
Mhm.
sure because of that slower pace, you were just really able to focus on patient after patient so that you just grew in your knowledge in the
Mhm.
different patients that you worked with.
Yeah, for sure. And I had a lot of time, like, I realized doing that I wanted to, become a CNSC. So I
Yes.
also had time to prepare for that and study for that because to me, a certification is very important. It's not just passing a
Right.
test, it's really knowing what you're doing. Like if you're going to call yourself a CNSC or a CDE or whatever you might be, that means you're a specialty in that field. And I took
Correct.
that very seriously. So I used that whole entire time to prepare and study for it.
Wow. So the patients that you worked with at the hospital, did that also help your preparation for the CNSC exam?
Definitely. I mean, our hospital didn't have we had some critically ill patients, but
Mhm.
the acuity was a little lower than you would see in a larger hospital just because of the limitations as far as the community hospital and what
Yeah,
equipment we had, what we could do
true.
for people. But definitely, working in the ICU helped a lot. We did get some severely ill patients. So seeing that in person, working on them every day,
Mhm.
and then kind of like if I didn't know something or something came up, I would study it. And that's how I became like, familiar with all the things that I needed to know.
Wow. I'm just speechless, so amazed at your growth, with this position that you have. But then didn't you also mention to me that you discovered your passion for working with critically ill patients? Is that how it
Yeah.
came about, or how did that come about?
Yeah, so I mean, the whole nutrition support thing, critically ill. Um, First, I know every patient can be helped. So if I'm saying something like, please forgive me, but I really just want to help a certain population that I feel really can't speak for themselves. They're
Mm,
intubated, they're sedated, and they're depending on the healthcare team to take care of them. And to me, like being a part of that is just really fulfilling.
mhm,
Seeing a patient who comes in who's intubated and then seeing them extubated, get a
mhm.
swallow valve, start eating, and then sit up and talk to you. I mean, that whole thing could take like a week or it could take a month and a half, 2 months, 3 months. So seeing that is just so rewarding because you were part of that whole process.
Oh, Carrot, that is so true.
Yeah.
You just relating that, saying that brought back a lot of really good memories when I was a clinical dietitian. And I worked at two different hospitals, so I was exposed to, yeah, the different stages of the
Hmm.
progress of a patient. And yeah, it's the most wonderful feeling knowing that you were a part of their healing process.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, so you passed your CNSC, and then you thought, okay, either I'm gonna look for a new job, stay, or what were your thoughts at that time once you passed and you got those extra initials after your name?
Yeah, so even though I was working in my hospital and I was happy and
Mhm.
I still always had my goal in mind. And I also wanted my CNSC with that goal in mind,
Yes.
that I would go somewhere where I'd be able to utilize it more, just as far as, like I said before, the smaller hospital has some limitations to what patients we can take. And I really wanted to work on those who are critically ill, severely ill, trauma, that type of thing. So I knew going into it, if I passed my CNSC, that I was going to look for another job. I have a really good relationship with my director. So I was able to tell her, look, I passed my CNSC. These are my goals. And I'm going to start looking for
Mm.
another job. So she was
Yes.
very supportive the whole time. She knew that I was leaving because it was just my personal growth and my goals instead of like I'm not happy at this place or
Right.
there's nothing like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I started looking, and again, it took a long time. Not a long time. It took a little longer than I thought it was going to.
Okay.
Um, and I ended up meeting someone on LinkedIn. Yeah. So another person told me there was a director on LinkedIn looking for someone for the another location, not the one I'm at now. So the USC in Verdugo Hills. So I
Oh,
ended up applying for that position
I
and
see.
interviewed for that position.
Oh, really?
Yes, that's a weird story. So I interviewed for that, and then the director called me an hour after the meeting and said, "You won't be happy here. This isn't the position for you. This is a
Really?
small community hospital similar to what you're at. But if you wait, I have something for you at Keck." It was really, yeah, it's just like everything kind of fell into place. So it was
Oh.
amazing, honestly.
I bet you screamed at that moment just hearing that. If you just wait, I have something for you at Keck. Keck of all places. Oh my.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know if everyone knows USC CAG is like a surgical hospital, and the
Right.
patients they handle are very severely ill. So, not all of them, but they have, they handle ECMO and
Mm.
CRT and they do all the stuff that I wasn't able to see at my hospital. So, it was very, very exciting for me to even be considered for that position because I know as far as experience, I don't have that experience. So even being given that shot was I'm just so grateful for it.
Yeah. Wow, it's almost like, I mean, I could just see God totally like leading you into this, and you didn't even have to seek it out. You were hearing about this other job in Verdugo, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then but it was really for this, and Keck of all places. Like
I
when
know.
wow, I am so excited for you because I remember when you sent me a message through Instagram and you're like, yeah, eventually I would like to have a job somewhere for critically ill patients. And I know it had been a while since I'd been in contact with you and I was thinking about you. And then all of a sudden we just connected again. And I'm like, did you get a new job somewhere? And you're like, yes. I'm like, oh my. Oh, so how long have you been there now at Keck?
This today was my second day.
Oh, look at that. Look at this.
Yeah.
So incredibly exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
And right now, well, second day, did you get to see a lot of other things that you hadn't seen in your own hospital before? I mean, your first hospital?
Yeah, not yet.
Mhm.
Um, but I know that opportunity is coming. So
Oh
the
yeah.
training's like a month long, so I'll be able to see a lot of things. Right now I'm just getting used to the computer, the charting system, where
Mhm.
everything is at. I think that's the hardest part. I've gotten lost like a million times already
Yeah.
looking
It's
for
a big
things.
hospital, isn't it?
Yeah, it's there's 3 towers and I think it's 9 levels. It's actually small hospital in the bed size, so there's like
Okay.
275 beds only.
Okay.
But what we're handling is a very
High,
you know,
high,
yeah, very
high
ill
acuity.
population.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Very serious patients. So yeah, it can't be more than that.
yeah.
Wow.
That
And
second day.
yeah, no, that's so exciting. This is like your dream job.
It
You
is.
arrived at your dream job, and in God's time, it happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everything happened when it was supposed to. I honestly believe that with all my heart.
Yeah.
I never, I mean, ever since, I mean, I don't know if I told you, I think I did. We talked about like when getting into Loma Linda, it
Yeah.
wasn't really supposed to happen. Like I wasn't planning on it. I was supposed to go to Chico.
Okay, please go ahead and keep telling that story. This sounds familiar. Mhm.
Okay, so I was
Uh-huh.
accepted into Chico and I was gonna go to Cal State Chico to get
Okay.
to go to the not the CDP. What's the other one?
Oh, a DPD
DPD.
program? Yeah, that's
I
right.
was so sad because I didn't want to leave my mom and I didn't want to leave my dog, my boyfriend, and I was just really struggling with that. And
Wow.
I think it was like 2 days before I left for vacation to my brother's house. I get a call from Loma Linda and they said, come down for an interview. And I'm like, what? And it was kind of later, I think it was July. And I
Okay.
had totally discounted it, like, oh, I didn't get in. And I went for my interview, and then they're like, we've accepted you. And I was like, so yeah, I mean, it just had this
Wow.
weird way of working itself out. And I don't know, ever
Wow.
since then, I just know.
Yeah.
I
So
just know
true.
that, everything's in God's hands and he takes care
Right.
of it. the way it's supposed to be handled. You just have to trust.
Mm-hmm. That's the
Yeah.
key right there. And God clearly has been guiding you every step of the way.
I really
And
do feel like that for sure.
yeah. And I
So
know
thankful. So thankful
even
for
in,
it.
in our texts and Instagram, you have always said that you're just trusting in God. Even you
Mhm.
didn't have this new job yet, but you just knew because you were saying, I'm still at the hospital where I first started at. I remember you saying that, but you were very clear that it's okay. I'm just letting God do his thing. And because you've trusted him, look where you are now.
Yeah, I think in our lives we try too hard to control things and then we get angry when we don't get what we want,
Oh, Kara,
which
thank
is
you for
totally
yeah.
understandable.
Yeah,
Um,
but I'm thanking you for the reminder. Thank you for reminding me about that.
but I'm trying hard not to do that because, I mean, we're never going to have full control of our lives.
Of our
And
lives,
you
that's
have
so
to
true.
learn how to roll with punches,
Yeah,
take what's given to you, make the best out of it, always be
right.
positive, be kind to yourself, have faith,
Mm-hmm.
and, things will happen. So,
Yes, as your life is definitely exemplifying that.
mhm.
Okay, Kara, so I'm going to switch gears.
Okay.
So, I mean, I love the first gear. Now let's go into the second gear.
Mhm.
But you said, okay, at the beginning, there was a book that you read about bodybuilding. So you were already
Mhm.
interested in bodybuilding back then, but
Yes.
now it has resurfaced.
Yes, it has. Um, I think I like challenges in my life, like getting my CNSC,
Yeah.
working at a hospital with the critically ill is definitely a challenge because I went from an easier place to a harder place. And
Yes.
the same with the bodybuilding, it's definitely a lifestyle change. And, prepping food for 5 to 6 hours on Sunday, eating every 3 hours, working out is definitely not easier than what I was doing. But I love it. I'm just so fascinated by the body and what it can do and
Yes.
how we can kind of like not, I guess, manipulate it in a way, or not manipulate, but treat it in a way to where we kind of want it to go in a certain direction. It's just so interesting to me.
Yes. And through this process, because you said that you have a coach,
Yes.
right? Yes.
Mhm.
Through this process, you're overcoming some thoughts that you've had in the past, maybe, or like beliefs, food beliefs, that type of thing.
Yes, for sure. So I've always been kind of worried about my weight. I've always been worried about what I eat, the types of food I eat. Before I was like a low carb kind of girl, always avoided noodles, rice, try to stick more to the protein and vegetables. That's really what I would eat most of the time. I wasn't eating enough fiber for sure. I wasn't eating enough fruit. And then I started doing this whole bodybuilding thing. At first, it started out just like it wasn't like serious bodybuilding, but it was kind of like trying to build muscle, which
Yeah.
is the same thing. But then really realizing that carbohydrates is a huge part of that. And then now my coach has me eating like my post workout meal is 14 ounces of potatoes, if you can believe.
Wow.
And so,
Incredible.
really just accepting these foods, what they can do for me, what they mean for my body, how they benefit my body, even though I thought they were bad. Um,
Mhm.
just knowing that each food has a different role in your body and its growth has
Yeah.
it's been really good for me. Just the whole body image too, like realizing what I'm eating is making me stronger,
Mm,
and
I love
stop
it.
focusing so much on the physical and focusing more on the strength. And then being strong makes me feel good too.
Yes.
Makes me feel powerful.
Yes, yes,
Makes me feel like,
absolutely.
yeah, like I can lift as much as like not. maybe the smaller guys, but I
Yeah, yeah.
can, and it makes me
Hey,
feel good. It makes me like really feel more confident.
I love it so much. It's almost like, or maybe it is like you are like loving yourself more, your relationship with yourself, of yourself, and with food. Like this is another chapter of your life of growth.
Yes. Yeah. And in all ways, I just feel very positive nowadays. I feel like I can do anything.
Mm,
Um, because if you work, not that you can't, I mean, I think you can do anything if you put your mind to it and you work hard.
right.
And I feel like with all the achievements that like I've taught myself that, and I've taught myself now that going forward, I can do something like bodybuilding, even though maybe I thought
Yeah.
before I couldn't. And
Yeah.
so I just feel very positive, very happy, and I just want to be the best that I can be or who I want to be in
Yes.
every facet of my life, in my
Oh,
career, my personal, my physical, whatever it may mean to me, that's what I want to be. So, yeah, very happy.
I love your philosophy in life. You know, you're just competing with you. You're not competing with anybody else.
Exactly.
You just
Exactly.
want the best version of you.
Yes.
Girl, you know what I think?
What do you think?
I'm thinking, okay, you're gonna do the bodybuilding thing, and I just have a feeling you're gonna go into a competition one day. I That's what I'm thinking. That's the next thing you're probably gonna do. And I there are so many aspects of you that make me go, oh my goodness, I was like that. I was like that. And so I definitely see in your future that you might even go for a doctorate. You might not think it now. You may not think it now, but I'm like seeing the personality type in you. And of course, I know that you could do it.
Well, I mean, my mom, my brother has a doctorate, so I'm sure she would love that too. So she could say, "Well, of two doctors."
There
Of
you
course.
go. If
Yes.
it's God's will later on down the road, you never know.
You never know. You have to be open to what life brings you.
Oh, so
I've
true.
come to realize that.
Yeah, because I said no to I'll never do a doctorate, and yeah, look what happened. And I said I'll never do a marathon. Look what happened. So
Which are two amazing things, though.
I think, you know what the exciting thing is, that the discovery that God empowers us to do these challenges, and we can do it. It is exciting to see how far we can push ourselves without hurting ourselves.
Yeah, of course. Always
Mhm.
challenge yourself.
Yeah,
I always, you know, I
absolutely.
don't want to ever get too comfortable in where I'm at. I always want to challenge myself. I think that's another thought that drives me. Not that
Beautiful.
you can be comfortable and still push yourself,
Mhm.
but I don't want to be too complacent in where I'm at. I always want
Mm.
to move forward if that's what I want, you know.
Yes,
Instead of being
yes.
scared, I'm actually really scared of change. I
No
think a lot
way.
of people are. Yeah. So even getting this job, I had a lot of anxiety. Like, I'm not going to be good enough. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not going to succeed. Maybe I should just stay here every day. I know what I'm doing. It's easy for me. I know everyone. The drive is easy. What am I doing? Like, why am I making myself feel uncomfortable, like put myself in an uncomfortable situation, but it's what I want, so I have to do it, you
Wow.
know.
Wow. You know, we all go through that imposter syndrome. We all do. We go through it temporarily
Mhm.
until we've gone through that next chapter, which you're at that next chapter. You're on day 2 of the next chapter. And then you're like, yes, this is my goal, to be in this big hospital. It's a teaching institution too.
Mhm.
And oh, I love teaching institutions. I mean, you know, and then because your growth, being able to learn so much more. Yeah. That's I love how you have vision, goals, and then you go for it. And even if you're afraid, you're like, that's okay. I'm going to move forward, keep putting that foot in front of the other. And that's what you're doing. So look at where you're headed. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
Thank you. Even today, I was scared of doing this. And I'm like, you know what? No, you have to always challenge yourself. Like, even if
There
you're
you
scared, you
go.
shouldn't let
Yeah.
fear ever hold you back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And girl, I don't know why you would have been scared talking to me. We're just talking.
True, true.
Wow. So, Miss Kara,
Yes.
for someone who's out there listening and they are like, okay, I know I want that change. I'm bored where I'm at, and I just need something different in which I can feel like I'm really contributing to
Mhm.
helping people. I know you've been already giving a lot of great advice throughout the evening. What is one more thing you would like to say for that one person who's still like, that's what I want to do, what Kara has done?
So I would just advise to always be focused on what you want, to make sure it's really what you want, because if you do want it, it will always be like the pulling, like it'll always pull you forward.
Mm,
And to not overthink it. The way I think about things is, at one point in my life I was uncomfortable maybe in a change, but you fast forward 6 months. And where are you in 6 months? Easy, right? Everything's easy, everything's easy. So just think to yourself, you know what? I'm scared right now, but when I do this, I'm going to be happy. And 6 months forward, easy.
mm,
I'm gonna be used to it. I'm gonna be secure. Everything's gonna be okay. I just try to think about all those times when life was tough and challenging, and
yeah.
I made it through.
Mm,
And when you remind yourself how strong you are, what you
yes.
can accomplish,
Right.
it gives you strength to move forward.
Ah, thank you. That encourages my heart too.
Oh, good.
So, thank you so much for all that you have shared tonight, sharing your life, what has happened since you left us. And, as teachers, we love seeing where our students end up working and where they go next in their careers. It's just the
Mhm.
most satisfying, heartwarming thing to see. And I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You always help me. I remember sending you my resume and you helped me with that. And you've always encouraged me throughout the years. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. And you know what? I'm still doing that today. In fact, I was looking at a resume of a student that said, could you look this over?
Yeah, you're
And
good at it.
thank
It's not our fault.
Aw. Oh, I just love being by your side, with by the student side and just seeing all of you successful. And that's what makes us so happy. That's why we're doing what we're doing. It's because we love seeing all of you flourish.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay. Well, Kara, thank you once again. I know that you've had a long day and it's just the second day and you're doing all that you need to do, but thank you for spending time with me. We're recording this in the evening, later on in the evening, so thank you. I appreciate you and I really look forward to seeing how things turn out for you at this new job.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this. So maybe we'll
Same
do it
here.
again.
Yes, a part 2
Part two.
for the
How
update.
things turn out.
Yes, how things turned out. Sounds good.
Okay.